Season's greetings, happy holidays, and happy Thanksgiving from everybody here at DSP News, a GTG network and productions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for our for what is now an annual tradition of the DSP, or I guess it's a DSP News slash, like I said, GTG Thanksgiving video. It's something that we started last year. It's just kind of been a nice thank you to everybody who's done everything for us, to be honest with you, throughout the year. But this year we're going to do that, but we're going to give it a slight twist, because at the same time we're thankful for everything that that's been done for us and all of the time that you guys have given to us. I also want to show my appreciation to some other content creators that we're close to, and the time, and I want to be thankful, and I want to thank all of you for the time that you've given them and the chance that you had given us, the opportunity that you also gave them. I feel like that's important moving forward, because I think as the year goes on and as you see people become more and more successful, you're thankful for that. But you're not just thankful for the fact that you shout people out, or people shout you out, and it's kind of there's a lot of collaborations that go on and so on and so forth. But also you're happy to see growth amongst the, people don't like calling it a community, but amongst circles that you frequent with, or even circles that you don't frequent in. You're happy, you should be happy to see people succeed, even if they're in your lane, because it means that as they're growing, you're growing too, and you can learn from them, and you can see their growth, and you can see the opportunities that they've taken, or the chances that they made, or the risks that they had to take. And you can understand how to not only grow but expand yourself, which is something that DSP had an opportunity of doing in his early days, and he chose not to because he was too self-absorbed in himself and his flash of success that he couldn't see the bigger picture. And in turn, one of the reasons why DSP failed, and is the perpetual failure that he is now, is because he wasn't willing to grow what is a community that was around him. I'm not talking about his fan base. I'm talking about something bigger than that, a much larger picture. And he wasn't willing to grow anything else around him if he wasn't able to profit from it, which is just a terrible way of looking at life. So we're going to go ahead and go over some of these things in our Thanksgiving video. It's probably not going to have, I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with this, because I have just some things that I've written down, and then we'll probably go from there. I am cooking, by the way, and unlike DSP, I can actually cook, and I'm not trying to burn nothing. There's a lot of people coming over. There's a lot of people coming over, and though I would love to pull a Christmas story where if everything messes up, we can go out and get Chinese or something. Nah, I ain't spent a whole lot of time and a whole lot of effort cooking all of this, despite the fact there were plenty of people who volunteered to help, and I just don't want to mess it all up. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for showing up to this video, and let's go ahead and get started, and let's try to get started right. And how do we do that? We go ahead and start with a little bit of music, something to lighten up the mood. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the holiday season, when it comes to Thanksgiving, I've always enjoyed being around people. I've always enjoyed cooking and watching other people cook, sharing stories and whatnot. And I'm more of a listener, believe it or not, than a talker. So I like hearing about people's experiences, and I like hearing about how their day, how their year went. And for a lot of the older crowd, I like hearing about their life. I know a lot of people kind of get tired of that, but you can learn a lot from an individual if you sit down and talk to them. If that's something that my parents always taught me, you can learn from anybody. And even the people who feel like they're above you and they can't give you the time of day, you can learn from their actions. You can learn from the people that are around them, and you can grasp something from everybody. You know what I mean? So nobody is actually worthless. There are plenty of people who are useless, but there's nobody actually worthless. All right? And the reason why I say useless is because if someone is useless, they're useless by choice. not because they have a disposition or something or they were born some way. You have to choose to be useless. You know what I mean? You have to choose to be useless, to be honest. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as it pertains to Thanksgiving, right? So last year I'd have to be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't expecting to be here another year. It's kind of crazy to think about. There's a lot of people that I need to thank first, and then we'll get into kind of like the actual course of this video. First things first, my first two thank yous go out to Jimmy Neutron, or Jimmy Triforce, sorry. He doesn't go by that name anymore, he goes by something else now. But Triforce has been a driving force for what I do, and I very much appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well, man. And I hope life is going well for you, man. I enjoy talking to you on Twitter. I know you've been busy. Life comes at everybody fast and whatnot. But I hope you're doing well. And I've been thankful to you from the first day that you put a comment on my video till the last time I was able to talk to you on Twitter and whatnot. And I'd like to think that I convey that to you every time we talk, but you can't convey everything and whatnot. It's very easy to forget small things. So, you know, like I said, I very much appreciate you and thank you very much. Like I say, he's going by a different name now on YouTube and whatnot, but I always remember the Triforce aspect of it. So shouts out to Triforce. The next person is Superslothpants, or SSP. SSP is extremely important and holds a very central place as it pertains to GTG Network and Productions, because she's the one who really kind of helped shape our image, you know what I mean? And as all good women do. And I haven't actually had a chance to actually speak to her directly and whatnot. The first podcast that the Jackal's Lair did, that would have been my opportunity, but I had to duck out early. But what I will say is, hearing her on the podcast that first time she came on, and then hearing her now, you can see a lot of her growth and whatnot in a very, very positive way. And you can also see that, I believe, conveyed in her art if you've been watching her art throughout the year. And I'm extremely happy for her. I'm extremely happy for things that are working out for her. And I know that there's always going to be some setbacks, or some days seem harder than others, SSP. But I promise you they'll get better. And what you do provides a level of happiness for people that maybe is not conveyed to you all the time. And maybe certainly here at GTG Network and Productions, I don't get a chance to convey everything that you do. But we very much appreciate it, as everybody that talks to you and who knows you does. And I just want to, and I know you know that, I just want to go ahead and just say it though, because, you know, it's the right thing to do. So if it wasn't for SSP, who knows how far this could have gone, whatever you want to call this. She certainly made us a bit more palatable for other people and whatnot. You know, we're a bit of a savage here, but we do have a nice, soft, kind of cuddly side to us. And so Superslothpants is, in my opinion, the one who certainly helped bring that image to the forefront. And that's why I used the old, my first fan art, I should say, in a lot of the videos recently, because it continues to remind me that someone took time out of their day to appreciate what I did and saw probably more in me than other people did, or maybe even willing to. And you don't find a lot of people like that. So when you do, you should cherish those people. You should appreciate those people, and you should certainly be thankful to those people. So thank you yet again to Superslothpants. SSP! Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and move on to all of you in general, in a lot of ways. In most ways, to be honest with you, for giving me the opportunity for me and the guys here at GTG Network and Productions to do what we do. You guys got to remember, it's not just me. There's a 4-person show here, and it has its quirks, and you know, there's been slight setbacks and stuff gets scrapped and small hiatuses and so on and so forth. A lot of you have stuck around. A lot of you didn't. Well, I don't know about a lot of you, but some of you weren't really feeling it at first, and then you showed back up later, and you gave us another chance. You gave us another shot, and I'm appreciative on both fronts because, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said before, there are plenty of talented people back out here. If you guys don't like the content, if you don't like the delivery, if you don't like any of it, I understand. I'm not going to be like DSP, for example, and say, well, then, you know, you can leave, go watch somebody else. I'll recommend someone better to you. You know what I'm saying? Me telling you that, oh, well, you know, you can leave and don't come back is kind of stupid, because then you may not get a chance to see what growth that happens to the channel. You might not like what you saw that day, but that doesn't mean you might not like what you might see in a couple months. So to sit there and just kind of write people off has never been a way I've looked at this. You know what I'm saying? And since I don't do this for a living, I don't make a dime off any of this, you would think someone who does make a living off this, or who does get paid in some way, shape, or form, would think in that same manner. But that's neither here or there, and that's subjective to the actual person in general. So thank you guys very much for allowing me to essentially come into your homes or into your workplaces or just into your free time. Your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and you've been willing to share. You've been willing to share that with us, and as well as with others, to either just make your week go better as white noise to put the kids to sleep, just so you have something to do while you're gaming or whatever the case may be. I still very much appreciate it, as I'm sure other people do also. Another thing I'd like to go ahead and kind of drive forward is the people who hit us up in the comment section, who come up with just great advice or just great input, not just to us, but into the inside of DSP. And then those who reach out to us on Twitter, like a lot of people who really conversate with us, me in particular, is usually through DMs and whatnot. And you've given me an opportunity not to just be like, hey, you're doing great at this, but you could work on this, or hey, I have this theory about DSP. But some of you have actually given us some insight into your life in general, and not even pertaining to DSP, but just in yourselves. Some of you just hit us up just to vent. You know what I'm saying? You're having a shitty day, you're having a shitty week, whatever, and it's open to you. My DMs are essentially open to anybody. And to give you guys an example of that, there is somebody who's in Phil's fan base. He's not even a big player. Well, he or she, to be honest with you. I haven't looked into him and looked into this person. And they hit us up pretty regularly. They're usually in there regularly. Sorry, they're usually in the DMs at least twice a week, and we casually talk as if we've known each other forever. It didn't start off that way. You know what I'm saying? I won't call that person's name out because they asked me not to. But you know just as well as I do that it didn't start off that way. You came in there to try to bait me into something, I'm sure. I never bothered in asking because I didn't care and whatnot. I kind of understood going into this that, especially coming off of that situation with SOK, that, you know what I'm saying, you got to be careful with what you say around people. So you came in obviously trying to fish for something, and it never happened, or it did happen, or it didn't work out the way you wanted or whatever, and you kept talking to me anyway. And I find that you're a very interesting individual. Not because of your association with DSP, I just think you're an interesting individual in general. We've had some pretty great conversations. And you said that things have been going a lot better for you since we first talked. I mean, I've been talking to you for almost a year. I don't necessarily know what I've contributed to you, but I'm glad that you're in a better space. And you're still on that side of the fence, and I still talk to you. So obviously, I must not hate you. And obviously, I must not hate Dave if I'm willing to talk to you, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because you come in, or you came in, I should say, as a diehard DSP fan. And I still talk to you just like I talk to anybody else. You show respect, I'll respect you back, to be honest. And you never really went off the rails with it. So, you know, and I enjoy talking to you, to be honest with you. I've learned a lot from you, whether you realize it or not. And even though I rail off on DSP's fan base, I always knew instinctively that not all of you were terrible. I think some of you have you've been around for a really long time, and it's kind of hard to give up on old habits. Old habits die hard, if you will. And I feel that kind of it's one of the things with you, to be honest, but at the same time, you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. I think that's what it is. And as I've told you, Phil convinced you of that because he needed you. He needed you more than you need him. You are slowly but surely realizing that. I don't force it down your throat because I don't see a need to. You have to see it. You know what I'm saying? What I see is what I see. If you don't see it, that doesn't make you wrong. We'll just give it time. People like calling me Nostradamus and shit. It's a funny little niche, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I see. What I do see, I just convey it to you. You take it the way you take it, and you move with it or you don't. And if it comes to pass, it comes to pass. If it don't, it don't. You know what I'm saying? I've been wrong on plenty of things. I will continue to be, and whatnot. I can't really help that. You know what I mean? I can be better, you know what I'm saying? But no one can be right about everything all the time. Because if you are right about everything, you'll never grow. So, shouts out to you. And shouts out to everybody else that hits us up on the DMs or who just randomly hits us up on Twitter and shit. You know what I'm saying? I very much appreciate it. The rest of us do too. Funny enough, you guys probably don't know exactly who you're talking to at any given time, which is part of the greater mystery. But when you guys hit me up in the DMs, though, I'm the one that generally responds to all of you and whatnot. Anyway, so thank you very much to the people who hit us up on Twitter or in the comment section and who've just given us good advice, who have given us a chance to do what we do. Now, this is the part that I want to say. I want to say thank you for all the giving that all of you as an audience have given, and not even pertaining to us, but pertaining to a group of people who we're closely associated with, or people that we respect. And that comes to, first person will be Mighty D. As you guys know, Mighty D has really grown over the span of, well, Mighty D has actually been in the game for a while. If you guys go to his channel, you can see it. He's been doing this for a little while now, but he just took some long breaks and whatnot. But in the time, I guess right around the time I started I kind of came into the game, I guess you could kind of say that he came up in the game. We were kind of he was starting back up, I was coming in, and then Memology 101 was kind of coming in. So I guess you could kind of say we're the three amigos in a lot of ways. And if there's any, I think there's certainly a mutual respect between me and Mighty D. I've never had a problem with him, and I like the guy, actually. I love his content too. But if there is definitely something that me and Memology 101 have in common, is that our belief in Mighty D, and believing not just in his content, but believing in him in general. And you see that, and I very much appreciate Mighty D's growth over the span of the year. A lot of people can see greatness before it's great. And not just myself and Memology, I'm sure a lot of people saw it. Just you have to be willing to give it the opportunity to do so. And I think that's what Mighty D represents. You know what I mean? And so as Mighty D closes in on 2,000 subs and just continues to grow even further, it's one of the things that I'm super happy for. I'm happy that people gave him the opportunity. I'm happy that people who I know in this comment section go over there and who appreciate what he does. And that's the biggest thing that I'm really thankful for, is that people appreciate what Mighty D does. Because you can tell there's a lot that goes into what Mighty D does. And I'm just glad that people see the vision that he puts out and believes in it. Because it's not just a matter of you go into a content creator and you like it, you hit your thumbs up, you might give a comment and you might not, or then you just kind of bounce, and then it is what it is. You keep going back to that content creator is not just a commitment, but it's the belief in what that person does and the message that they convey. And I think I've only said this once, but I'll certainly say it now. I've always felt, and I'm sure Memology, I'm sure a lot of you would believe, well, at least agree with me, that out of the community, sorry, it's not a community, out of this DSP circle, detractor, whatever, is that Mighty D has to be the heart, or the soul of it, I should say. Well, I can say the heart and soul of it. There's a lot of hearts around here, but certainly the soul of it. And I think what was the title of it? I think is How DSP Has Changed. I can't remember. I'll link all these people's channels down in my description, as well as the video that I'm referencing in specifically. Because for me, I've never thought of DSP as an evil person. He's not smart enough to be, but he's certainly not a good person. He's far from it, and I think that's fair to say. But when Mighty D put that video out, it made me not necessarily second guess, but it certainly made me approach DSP from a different angle. Because what Mighty D was trying to convey, at least the way I saw it, was this is what he wanted to do. This is what he was trying to do in good faith, and look at where he's come from. or look at how he started and look where he ended up, basically. But then I would counter that, not the video and not his vision, but the actual thought process in itself, that the road to hell is paved in good intentions. So despite what DSP initially walked into this whole YouTube thing, what he meant to do for it, he didn't live up to that. And he didn't live up to it because he let success, he let money, and he let his own shortcomings, emotionally, as well as other things otherwise, corrupt that. And that's what I've always appreciated about Mighty D, because he presents to you what DSP's good intentions are. And then sadly, and ironically in a lot of ways, Mighty D's videos show you the progression of what DSP wanted to do, and you get to see how it metamorphed and corrupted into what it is now. And that's beautiful. It's beautiful because you're seeing someone who can see past DSP's faults to show you what was there and what could have been until it all got fucked up. And then you come to people like me. Sorry, screw up. I'm trying to be positive in this video. Positive. But then you get to people like me who give you the end product. And sadly, and people pointed this out to me, I always saw what DSP was always going to be. From the first Tevin video, from the first detractor video I ever saw, I always knew what he was going to be. It wasn't hard to. And that's what kind of separates me from Mighty D, because Mighty D had the faith that he could have been something. I was, on the other hand, he was always going to turn out to what he was going to be. He was destined for that. He was destined for that. He just wasn't prepared for it. Because anybody can fail. But if you at least set up certain circumstances for yourself, you can have a cushioning for yourself. He could be the most hated person on YouTube, no problem. But there was things that he could have done to make that profitable. That could have, I mean, he would have still been hated, but you can go on to be hated and still not be a laughingstock, not be an internet joke. There's plenty of popular people out there that are memes, but DSP transcends being a meme to being a walking pus of failure that no one could ever fix. So, but to Mighty D's credit, he's tried to humanize the pig roach in a way that I very much appreciate, and I'm thankful that other people appreciate it too. So shouts out to Mighty D. Thank you so very much, not just for what you've done for us, but what you do in general. For you being you is enough to be thankful for. Now, next person is the Jackal's Lair. My dude. The Jackal's Lair, I think I did a podcast with him earlier on in the year. And it was just me and him. We were going over DSP and Wings, and we kind of sprouted off into some other stuff. But it was a great talk. And that was something that Jackal had wanted to do for a while, but he always had an idea in his head of what he wanted. We talked about this back and forth for months. And from our first conversation, I already had the vision of what it was going to be. Like, in my own head, I already saw what his vision was. And all the Jackal's Lair had to do was take the step, and he did. You took a plunge, you took a risk, if you will. You reached out to some people, and you weren't afraid of change. You weren't afraid, well, no, let's rewind that back. You weren't afraid to try. And because of that is why you're where you're at now. Big shout outs to James the Lesser Express Lane, as well as Memology 101 for giving the Jackal's Lair a platform. I think honestly that the Jackal's Lair should mirror all of those podcasts on his channel, but I'm sure he'll do it in time. And I know someone reached out to him, actually I think it was Memology, who said that he should start putting it on iTunes. And actually I might start doing that too, so we'll see. But I'm glad that you were able to, that you believed at least in what you were doing, and you continue to follow through. And even when people were like, nah, I'm not interested, or I'm not going to do it today, or whatever, you didn't let that, distract you. You didn't let that deter you. You continued to move forward to now your podcast being what it is, and what it can continue to be moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So I very much appreciate and respect you following, I wouldn't say a dream, but an aspiration that you had. And I've always appreciated watching you grow. And I've seen us go from a conversation a conversation between two people, just kind of laughing it up, to now going into a full-blown podcast where you have guests come on, you have call-ins, or you sometimes have call-ins, and you guys talk about a bunch of topics that transcend DSP. You have a bunch of great people on there. You guys have some great topics and whatnot, and it's something that DSP could never be. And in turn, as long as all of you continue to believe in it, it'll continue to push forward. So shouts out to my man Jackal's Lair. Shout out to the, I don't know, they keep calling it something different each time. Like, I think they were calling it Detractor Cast for a while. They were calling it Enter the Lair. They were calling it a bunch of different things. Just shouts out to the Jackal's Lair. Shouts out to his podcast. You can find it on Memology's channel. You can find it on James the Lesser's channel, because both of those guys have hosted it. Actually, so has LSB, or Lightside Bill. He's also hosted it. Shouts out to him, by the way, and all the growth in his channel and whatnot. So, you know, you have 3 different platforms you can find it on, but Jackal's Lair should also mirror it on his channel too. Just because the more, you know, the more places you put it, the more places where it can be seen. So shouts out to the Jackal's Lair. Next person, James the Lesser Express Lane. Oh boy. Oh boy. James the Lesser is one of the diamonds in the rough. And he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of depth. He's a super entertaining guy. He's a super funny guy. He's a super approachable person. He's very, very approachable. Not just on YouTube, but on Twitter. He's definitely someone that you guys want to talk to. You can talk to. He's an easy guy to speak to. And he's funny too. He's super fucking funny. He's super funny. Try not to curse. I'm happy to see all of the growth with his channel. I'm happy to see that people appreciate everything he does. And I'm not even talking about his DSP stuff. I'm talking about the football videos that he does, which are pretty good. I kind of want to play fantasy football with him next year. Maybe I'll start like a detractor fantasy football league or whatnot. It'll be open to everybody, but I'm thinking about wanting to do that. Or maybe I'll see if James the Lesser wants to start that. He should consider doing that. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, he has just a cornucopia of great material on his channel. And the thing is about James the Lesser is a lot like Jackal. He wasn't afraid to take a chance and whatnot, and he's consistently improving on everything that he does. I can see why The Secret Life of DSP praises him so much and loves his content. Just in case you didn't know, that's probably one of Secret Life's, one of his favorites, if not is his favorite YouTuber. And you can see it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I really appreciate James the Lesser's approach. You know what I'm saying? And he has a lot of charisma. He has a great delivery, and the content is constantly shaping, and it's constantly refining itself. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that people are starting to really appreciate it and really starting to go over there and support it and whatnot. And he's actually a pretty good writer too. So shouts out to James the Lesser. Please go over there, support his channel. Go over there and check out the link to his books that are on Amazon. I've read one. I'm not gonna say what book it is though. It's a good read. Check his books out and whatnot. He's a really good writer, and check him out on Twitter. Check him out on Twitter. He's a really funny guy, super approachable, has a lot of depth to him. So please check him out. Next person who took a big risk this year, and it paid off. Even though there's some blowback, is Memology 101. Now, like I said, I guess you could kind of say we all came up with each other, me, him, and Mighty D, kind of, sort of, around the same time, if you will. And I've always appreciated his drive, and Memology is one of the few people out there who actually believe that this is a community, and it can actually come together. And he's trying, and you guys may not see it, but he's actually trying very hard to kind of put together what was broken up a couple years ago, and God bless him for it. I also appreciate just the content that he puts out, and like I said, as it pertains to the better health situation, if you guys have been keeping up with it, it's a great series. Please check it out. And I think he's working on, if not, season 2 is already out. He took a big risk with that, and for people like me who like doing like a bit of investigating, there's a lot of people he ain't pissed off. And to be honest with you, I respect Memology for how courageous he is, because he had to have known walking in that was gonna be ugly. And yet it's not about personal gains. It was about, this is what's being put out, this right here is taking advantage of other people. I'm merely bringing it to light, and you have to respect that. And he's definitely become a thorn in people's sides who were hoping that maybe he should have kept quiet, or maybe thought they could intimidate him behind the scenes to keep quiet. And the fact that he continued to keep moving forward is something that should be respected. And he's going through his hang-ups and whatnot, but I'm sure he'll talk about that when he's ready on his channel with certain people. But I respect what he does, and I think we all should. And you can tell by what he's been doing and how things are going for him, at least in a positive manner, on where he's going with it. I think we can all respect that and appreciate that. And he's certainly someone that's, you know, who's come through and has had my back, and I very much appreciate it and whatnot. And I appreciate what he's done for other detractors also, giving them a platform, giving really great ideas to them and whatnot. People go to him and ask him questions, and they do. I've seen it. He's pretty good about giving answers and whatnot. And he's good about responding to people who need help, and you don't find a lot of that. You know what I mean? You don't find a lot of that at all. So appreciate a big appreciation, a big thank you to Memology, and happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to him and his family, and all the people that are associated with that whole group that I'm talking about here. You got LSB, you have Loco Slam, you have is it the wrong guy? He's funny. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of people in that circle who have done great things. I can't name all of them, but there's quite a few people, and just for doing what they do. You know what I mean? A lot of the people that are associated with that podcast and what they do outside of the podcast, they do some great things. And I'm glad and I'm thankful for all of them and what they do. Okay, so to some of the heavy hitters, because we've already talked about the upcoming and rising stars and whatnot. Let's talk about some of the heavy hitters out there. To Snort Burnell. As you guys know, I'm extremely grateful to Snort Burnell and the vision and the genius that Snort Burnell puts out on the regular. And I'm super thankful that despite the bullshit, damn it, despite the crap that Dave and his 24-hour fucking ops crap, his 24-hour ops does behind the scenes, it doesn't deter Snort Burnell, and Snort Burnell continues to move forward and bringing us great content like 5 to 6 days a week, which is a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you really think about it, if you really sit back and think about what Snort Burnell puts into the content, it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. Everybody kind of, you know, people are like, oh, they meme it up. No, it's more than that. And to bring it to you almost every day, it's consistent. Or almost every day, like I said. Sometimes you get 6 days, sometimes you get 5. Well, no, you always get 5, I'm sorry. You always get 5, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7. You know what I mean? Snort Burnell be putting in that work. And I'm just thankful for what Snort Burnell does year in, year out for all of us, and have been doing this for a long time. So whatever success that comes their way, they deserve it more than anybody else and whatnot. But they certainly don't deserve the bullshit that Phil and his little pig roach cult likes trying to keep poking at him. It's fucking retarded. But it is what it is. The next thing is, or the next person I should say, is Mr. Huffstuffs, who's another one too, who's been really great about clipping the really juicy stuff that Dave has been trying to hide, as well as some people on Twitter. Too many people to name, but shouts out to everybody on Twitter also. There's a lot of great detractors that you can follow on Twitter who put in work, who put in a lot of work, who find the real gems that are in pre-streams, either in the first one or in the shadow pre-stream that most people don't get a chance to see, and bring it to the forefront and give you guys an aspect, and you really get to hear about what Dave is hiding. And you even hear, in some ways, some of the plotting that he's doing behind the scenes, a lot of the dog whistling that's going on. And people have to take time to do that stuff, man. Everybody, I mean, yeah, it's easily watching that mess and then clipping it, but that's time that you're taking away from doing something else. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Huffstuff falls into that category of bringing us all this great content, and yet constantly trying to evolve and doing different things to shape it. So thank you yet again to Mr. Huffstuffs. Let's see who's next. Argent. Okay, so Argent doesn't do a lot of DSP stuff anymore, but that's fine because his other content is great. Like, he has the expansion of content on Argent's channel is great. Not just the political, but going into some of his Star Wars stuff and a lot of the sci-fi and whatnot. He's doing, he had just came from vacation, so he's putting a vacation guide out, or he already did. He has just a lot of stuff on his channel. Link to Argent's channel will be in the description. I'm thankful to Argent for being him and doing what he does and whatnot. And I've always appreciated what he does. And what he's always doing on a consistent basis. Not just the DSP stuff, but a lot of the other content that he has too. And it's just great content. I'll leave the link down in the description. Please check out Argent and whatnot. A true gent. And thank you for everything. Next person is going to be, oh, praise be Almighty. Almighty Glow Gang, stand up. The thing is about Tevin, right, is not only is he the king of the proverbial hill, if you will, but yet again, his insight. You're talking about someone who is deep in this lore as it pertains to Dave, and a lot of the hidden gems that you could go out and look for, but it's buried amongst shit. For example, he gave a reference to something on one of his streams recently. Like, I'm talking about only in the last couple of days. That I had to go back on Kiwi Farms and I had to go to like 2 other sites. And that shit was like from like 2015, like 2000, like mid 2014. Like, that's how far you had to go and dig for that shit. I think me and Kenny, I think it must have spent like, you know what I'm saying, like 35, 40 whole minutes. You know what I mean? Just to try to put that little, this story together and whatnot, and the nonsense the nonsense which it was. It was crazy. It was crazy how he was able to remember all that shit just like that. And that, and just Tevin keeps it entertaining. And Tevin's taking a lot of bullshit too for no reason. It's a fight that Dave is initiated that he can't win. And I don't know what his end game is, but he's only making himself suffer. He's only making Cat suffer. But either way, Tevin brings it to us in an entertaining fashion and whatnot. He drops that knowledge on you. He drops that hot lore and whatnot, and it makes people go out and want to look these things up. Certainly makes me do it. And that can be future content later on down the line. And I just appreciate what he does over there in Mixer too. If you haven't gone over there and checked the Mixer stream yet, you should definitely check him out. I personally think that my Almighty needs to go over there to stream.me too. He should definitely go over to stream.me because I think it's another great platform. But, you know, Tevin will get over there when he's ready, if he feels that it's worth his time. And he's gone through a lot of bullshit, you know, throughout the year too. And he stayed very consistent. You know what I'm saying? He ain't coming out here telling us to rampage Phil and do fucking 24-hour egg gang ops to go and get him. He's like, hey, just sit back and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how we need to treat all this. There's no need to make it personal. Even when the opposition does try to make it personal. It's kind of just foolish, to be honest with you. So I'm very thankful for what Almighty Tevin does. I'm also thankful to, wow, there's a lot of people, man. Markus Daily Productions. I'm not sure if you guys remember who that is, but that's one of the people who I started up with. Like, his videos were some of the videos that I used to kind of start my own videos. And he posts maybe once a month now and whatnot. He had a hang up about a year ago which was a shame, because I understood what he was trying to do, and he took some backlash over it. But and then school and whatnot, life has basically stepped in. But he posts every once in a while. I'll leave the link down to the description to his channel. I'm very thankful to him for kind of giving this pup a chance to kind of cut his teeth, and for the content that he put out, because he has some real gems on his channel. Excuse me, he has some real gems, and you'd be hard pressed and you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you overlooked it. So the link to his channel down in the description. Shouts out to Outsider, The Secret Life. I think he might have changed the name recently, but to The Secret Life of DSP. Like I said, LSB. There's a bunch of great detractors out there. mtcdood, Gout Police. Oh man, there's a bunch of detractors out there. And Davidson, Volt Boy, definitely Volt Boy, because I went back through some of my old comments, and he had come through, and he was just super encouraging. Shouts out to Volt Boy, man. Thank you very much. So was Samosa Julius Cruz. Someone said, do I watch his content? I should. It's great. Of course I watch his content. Of course I watch his content. He's funny as shit. And he's constantly been improving too. Like, I respect not only his content, but I respect his drive. because the dude has a lot of drive, and his live streams are pretty good too if you ever get a chance to check them out. Man, there's so many detractors to be thankful for, and just you can appreciate and you can gain inspiration from that. I'd be hard pressed and I'd be doing a disservice if I try to name everybody. There's a lot of people, and not just on YouTube but on Twitter. Like I said, shouts out to Raven on Twitter. Definitely shouts out to Dragon Killer, Raven, Spirit Avenger. There's wow, man, Lip. There's a bunch of people on the King of Crybabies. Oh man, Goutside Phil. There's a bunch of people on Twitter. Man, that are just, you should definitely follow them. They're very funny individuals. They all have great insight. There's a lot there if you're willing just to give it a little bit of time, and you can learn a lot, because a lot of them know about the lore too, because they've been around a long ass time, so they remember a lot of that stuff. There's too many people to name. There's way too many people to name, and I'd be doing a disservice to try. But just shouts out to everybody, and just I want to say that I'm thankful to everybody who's out there and whatnot. And I guess that's kind of it, to be honest with you. I guess if there's any takeaway from, at least from the detractor aspect of it, and for people who are trying to get in and whatnot, actually, you know what? Wait a second. Sorry, one more person. There's one more person actually. I want to definitely shout out. Agent Proper of the DIA. As you know, he just kind of came up into the game, to be honest with you. But his series, the Pig Roach Files, are great. You know what I mean? And not only does he put out great content. It comes out every Sunday, by the way. Every Sunday. It's beautiful. Not only is his production good, not only is the quality of his videos good, but he's a cool guy to talk to. He's a super cool guy to talk to. On Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. And I just really enjoy his content. I really enjoy his delivery and whatnot. And go over there, support him, join the DIA and whatnot. I got, I've gotten 2 nice new suits. I got my new badge finally, dude. In the next year, man, I'm trying to work my way up to special agent status. So it'll be special agent GTG hopefully next Thanksgiving, if we make it that far. I just really appreciate what he does. I really enjoy what he does, and I hope you guys do too. And I really enjoy that a lot of you guys have given him the opportunity. I'll link his channel down in the description also. Please go over there and check it out. You'll find the information for the DIA, as well as his Twitter over there on his channel. So please check him out. Check out all these guys on Twitter. A lot of them are on there. And just a great group of people and whatnot. Very funny guys. Very insightful. And I think you can gain a lot and you can take away a lot. As it pertains to the whole detractor thing, sorry. It was really important that I put Agent Proper in there. Is if you're going to step into this game, right? Have a plan. And what I mean by a plan is doing detractor content, whether you decide to go into the commentary aspect of it, whether you go into the actual editing aspect of it, this is how you don't play, as you're just doing like, daily compilations of what the shit that Phil says from pre-streams or whatever the case may be. Have a plan moving forward, because you can use the skills that you're learning and developing here to do something else later. And that's what you should look at. I know this is going to seem kind of harsh, but that's really what DSP is. He's become a stepping stone. He's become essentially a staircase, or stairway, if you will, to something else in a way that he never could. You're talking about, he wants to say that he was the one who laid down the foreground, but he never was able to build the house. He was too lazy. He wanted other people to do it for him. But you don't have to be like that. You can go ahead and jump into this detractor content, mingle with some of these people, absorb ideas, come up with new things yourself, and then expand and do other things. Which I'd like to think that's what Secret Life was trying to convey, or at least some of that. He was trying to convey some of that in that last podcast that he did, is that you can use some of those skills and expand off to do other things. At least I'd like to think so. That's what I'd like to think. That's what he was thinking. But that's certainly what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? You can just have a plan. Just have a plan. Don't end up like Dave. Don't be a Dave, where you're just kind of stuck in a rut and you have no vision, you have no goals, you essentially have no hope. And that's why Phil does what he does. And that's why he keeps doing what he does, because he's too scared to do anything else. He's been comfortable. He's comfortable with doing this. He's complacent with doing this. He based all of his self-worth on this. Why? and how. Being a detractor isn't an identity. You know what I'm saying? Just like your sub count doesn't define you. It doesn't define the people who come to you. You know what I mean? The people who watch you. There are more people, I think, who watch me than are sub to me. That's great. You know what I'm saying? I'm an aspect of your life. In my own personal opinion, I am the trickle of water in what is the abyss that is your day. That's all I do. I provide you this moment of entertainment, comfort, just something to help you move along with your day. That's it. Phil wants to encompass your day. He wants to be your day. He feels that he's that important. And nobody's that important to you, ladies and gentlemen. And, well, there are. Your friends, your family. Not some random ass dude who had his shot, who had his run, couldn't spend his money properly, was ripped off at every stop, at every turn. And now he has no choice but to depend on people that he doesn't like. Now we're going to get into the the ranting segment, I guess, of this Thanksgiving video. But because I think I've said all of my thank yous and all of my appreciation to everybody out there, because it means a lot. It means more than you guys will ever really know. As it pertains to Phil, and to you, Phil, excuse me, watching Tevin's streams lately, I've always taken something off of his streams, whether I was able to watch them in real time, or if people send me clips later on down the line. And the recent back in time, I think it was, watching you spend on that move from Connecticut to Seattle, and watching you completely screw the game up. Like, you messed up in so many ways. I would have to actually do a doubt and whine to actually go over it, which I probably will one day. But you messed up in so many angles. When it comes to this money, your money is one of the main things that is the absolute nagging force of all of it, is the way you spent. You spent money like it was literally water. And you said, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, or, you know what I'm saying, as it pertains to money. And you had all of these visions of grandeur and all these great ideas that you wanted to do, and you never fell through. They never came to fruition because you never had attention to doing it. The reason why is because it's always a great idea to say when you start a new series, for example. It's always great to say, I'm going to do this new series, I'm going to go over this and that, and it's going to be great. That's what I did with Doubt and Wine. But as you do those type of series, you find out that, well, I want to add to this, I want to take this away, or now I want to change the idea up. It can be a little bit mind racking, a little bit, only for like 5 minutes, because I don't stress anything. You shouldn't. Life's too short to be stressing anything, especially stressing Dave. I'm kind of just wrestling with the vision that I have. And then I have 3 other people who are like, well, let's go this angle, or let's go this way, or let's choose these. And it's the thing that brings us all together. We were friends before this, but we've certainly been friends for a whole long time. Goddamn, now that I think about it. But it's essentially brought all 4 of us into like one mindset, where just a little bit of lore. We used to argue about shit back in the day when it came to certain videos that we put out. Because they're like, no, that video, let's not do that one, let's do this one, this one's important. Or no, let's go on this one because this one's breaking. No, let's hit this up because this will coincide with this. And you kind of see it in the content, and especially where we're going with it now. But at the same time, it was nothing that anybody got mad about. You know what I'm saying? It was just, you had 4 people who had different ideas of what they wanted to do. And after a while, I was kind of like, alright, I'm going to go ahead and step away from this because I'm the voice of it all. And you guys tell me what you guys want to do, and I'll look at it, and then we'll go from there. And then we vote and whatnot. But I had to, you know what I'm saying? It was a better way of kind of working out the creative process. Dave doesn't have that. Dave wasn't willing to take input or have a creative process, because why do you need to take advice from everybody when everybody's beneath you? And I know it's a harsh thing to say, but that's what he thinks. And that's why the content never grew. That's why it never expanded. That's why it just stayed stagnant. You know what I mean? And it's one of the shortcomings of him as a person that you didn't just see in his content, but you saw that in his life. You saw that with Panda. He never had any intention of marrying Panda. never had any intention, sorry, to do it. If he could have dragged her along and put a ring, maybe put an engagement ring on her finger or a promise ring, depending on how you want to go about that, and just drag her along for a couple years, he would have done it. He never had any plans of having kids. Phil doesn't want to do anything that takes attention away from Phil at the end of the day. And the way he treated Panda is ironic because it's the same way that Cat treats him now. Let me give you an example. Panda was always trying to be playful and always try to kind of cuddle up to him, and she did all these things that you would expect with someone that you're in love with, yeah? And Phil kind of brushed it off, or he kind of used it for his little advantage to kind of, you know, to fall into the act, to play his position, if you will. And then but then you could also see how quickly he got annoyed with it. He'd be irritated with it. Now look at Cat. He tries to do that same thing with Cat, and Cat just looks at him like crazy. She's like, don't touch me. You can tell just by her body language, just like, don't do that. I don't like that. Or even in the few situations where it does happen, you can still see she's very uncomfortable with it, like she's wrestling with it. You know what I mean? You can tell that Dave cares about Cat more than Cat cares for him. And that, Phil, is what karma is. Because the woman who really loved you, you didn't love her back. You loved the idea of loving her. Now you're in a situation where you have a woman that you really can't control, and you're probably infatuated with and whatnot because of the air of mystery and the fact that you probably can't control her like you did with the last one. You didn't groom her like you groomed the other one. That's the inside joke right now with Panda. That Phil spent all that time grooming her until she found a real man, and then, well, see how she is now. Anyway, you don't have the influence on Cat that you did on Panda, and it shows. And not only does it show, but the more that you can't control her, the more that you want to be with her, and it's not working. You can tell that she's really just pushing you further and further away. I think we've come almost full circle. Almost. The circle isn't closed yet, but we've almost come full circle. Now, back to my original point. To see him kind of just throw his money away at dumb shit. The dumbest thing that I saw for sure was the BMW, and we all laugh about that. But in truth, the capture card situation. He wanted to go to direct capture. He made a big deal about it, like it was a big deal at the time, and it really wasn't. He decides to, okay, I'm gonna buy this capture card because other people told me to do it. And then he tells people, oh, this is the capture card I ordered. They're like, oh, Phil, that's pretty good, but this one right here is better. And then orders another one before the first card shows up. Then he sees something else walking through Best Buy or whatever, and he's like, well, fuck, or I'm gonna see if I can find on Amazon and order from there because it'd be cheaper. And then orders that. So now he has 3 capture cards on the way to him without even having the first one in hand. All of this was going off the word of what other people told him. But isn't Phil the person who says that you have to think for yourself, do your own research, take time to actually do, you know, to do some due diligence? Oh, you mean when people are shitting on you, Phil? You want new people to actually go ahead and look you up and look up your history before they make a judgment about you. But yet, look at how you spend your money. Let's apply that to you now. How much due diligence did you put in with all those capture cards? How much due diligence did you put in as it pertains to that house? You live in a house that has a buggy air conditioner, and you're okay with that. And for all the money that you spent to get that fixed, which should have been the priority, you sat there and spent it on all this frivolous bullshit that don't mean nothing now. Everything that's in that house, almost everything that Cat touches, isn't even hers. It belongs to Panda. She got hand-me-downs, and she knows it, which probably only furthers the disdain that she has for you, that you try to pass it all off like, oh, this is all for you, honey, this is all for you, sweetie, soulmate. But she knows this is all hand-me-downs, this is all another woman's stuff. And just because Panda didn't pay for all of it doesn't mean she was the one who cleaned it. She's the one that upkept it. She's the one who cared. And Cat's not stupid. Cat knows that. And that's right there is one of the driving forces and one of the major problems that plagues Phil even up to this day. He always did. He lived the way he wanted to live. Didn't care what people said, didn't care what people thought. He lived the way he wanted to live, unless certain things came about. And now look at him. Now he's in a house that he can't afford. He's begging these kids for money who are becoming more and more slower to the process of contributing money. And his life is essentially falling apart because now he had a woman who he could essentially treat any way he wanted, to now having a woman who doesn't need him. She'd probably be better off without him, and he knows that. Your life, Phil, and how people approach it and view it and present it is fascinating, because you put all of this out there. But it's not just the fact that you put all of this information out there about yourself, but you lied, and you continue to lie, saying that this didn't happen, that didn't happen, when there's factual evidence that proves it. Instead of you being humble and being thankful on this day, Thanksgiving, for everything that people have done for you throughout the year, in a few hours, you're about to go ahead and do a state of stream address and basically beg these kids for money, beg these people for sympathy, beg these people for you to keep going. But you think it's okay. You think this is what Thanksgiving is meant. You're not thankful for the people around you, or the people that are around you. You think those people should be thankful for you. Which is a problem that doesn't plague just Dave, but it plagues other YouTubers also. The difference is that Dave is the only one that put his whole goddamn life out there to where everybody can see it. Anybody can cross-reference it. There are other detractors you can go to that can give you a hot link and give you a way of looking it up. They can put you on the path to finding it. And then what does Dave say? Oh, well, no, I never said that, or it was taken out of context. But he won't take the video down, because him getting all those people to go over there and clicking on those ads and whatnot, it just adds to his revenue. So you don't care. You monetized your whole life, your pain and suffering, to the greatest heights that you felt were your career and was your life. And you did it on purpose. You did all of it for monetary gain. So to be perfectly honest with you, Phil, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the public. It belongs to the people. Because you put it out there. You no longer have privacy, Phil. Because at the end of the day, whatever privacy that you have that you feel like you can monetize, you'll put it out there on your own. Don't get mad because people have something to say about it. This is how it works. This is the way of the world. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm thankful for DSP. Because to be perfectly honest with you, some of us could have been like DSP if it wasn't for DSP. DSP is an example of how one should not conduct themselves. Not just on YouTube, not just on Twitch, but in life. He says that he's living well. He merely exists. He's someone who believes that he's greater than what he is. But yet, if you were so great, a man can stand on his own too. He can still have help. There are plenty of detractors that I've even named, not all of them, but some of the detractors I've named that have Patreons. They don't publicize it. It's in the description. You can look, and if you want to contribute, great. But Phil pushes stuff like this on a daily basis. There's a difference between me saying, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the broadcast here at GTG Network and Productions. We very much appreciate it. Links to my Patreon is down below, or donation button or whatever. If you want to contribute to the broadcast for any future endeavors, it's completely your choice. Thank you so very much. And then I move the fuck on. Shit. The cuss. You move, I move on. I don't have a Patreon, but I'm just throwing that out there. One day we start one, you guys know how it's going to sound. I can move on. You, Phil, have our 45-minute long pre-streams talking about all the financial problems you're in, how you can't afford games, how you can't afford this, that, and the third, and how people need to help you. But here's the problem, Phil. People do help you. People help you with games. People help you with making your living. They become basically aspects in your portfolio and whatnot, in your financial portfolio. These are people that contribute to you every day, and how much thanks do you really give them? You give them that occasional thank you, or that initial thank you, so you can shut them up, so you can just keep it moving, or so you don't look like a complete jerk in the public. But how much do you really care? You don't. You don't. And it's something that goes back to Almighty Tevin, praise be Almighty, had said, When it comes to YouTube money, he spent it out there in the public. He flaunted it, made vlogs about it and everything, because this right here is the creature comforts of my success. This is what my success did. This is what T-pose. Imagine a cute pup in a sharp suit with doing a T-pose right now. This is everything that I obtained. These are the fruits of my labor. But then when it came down to the money that was donated to you on streams, the money that came from Patreon and all that, you didn't say nothing. You hid those things. And Almighty Tevin was right about that. Just like now. Now you hide everything because you're scared. You're scared because you beg for money all day and you say you don't have money for this and you say you don't have money for that and you really need help. But that you're buying all these things behind the scenes. You say it. You say you buy these things, but you don't go into detail on what they are. So you're still spurging on money, trying to live this lifestyle of middle class, upper middle class, whatever it is that he calls it, high on the hog. You still live this lifestyle that you feel you've earned, that was owed to you, but you're doing it on the backs of other people who really believe that they're trying to help you, instead of just fueling a lifestyle that you can't keep up. So maybe, just maybe, when you do the state of Gout address, you might want to go ahead and really show some sympathy to the people who showed you so much sympathy and who cared so much. But ladies and gentlemen, this is all coming from some brain dead detractor. So what do I know? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I said this Thanksgiving special wasn't going to go on long. I thought it was only going to be like 20 minutes like last year. Apparently, I had failed at that. But in any case, I'm very thankful for you guys giving me the opportunity. And I very much appreciate it. And thank you for showing up to this video. The next video that's gonna I don't know when it's gonna come up, but the next video will be the John and Howard Thanksgiving special, which was basically them responding. There's like 1 or 2 videos I'm still looking for to try to tie the whole story together, but if not, we'll just go ahead and do the John and Howard response raw, and then I'll just put the rest of that stuff together, and I'll do that in a separate broadcast. But I felt that would be important because that was held on Thanksgiving. But we're always late, never breaking here, so I don't know if it'll be out on Thanksgiving or just later on down the line. Probably won't be out for Thanksgiving. But I hope this right here will kind of tide you guys over. Ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Please be safe out there. Thank you to all of you. And I'm sorry that I couldn't name all of you. I'm sorry that I can't show the amount of appreciation to all of you. But please believe from the bottom of my heart, as not just myself, but everybody here, that we're grateful for what you've given us. I started off as some dude ranting on fucking YouTube videos. Sorry. Ranting on YouTube videos with some big booty chicks in the background talking about what I thought of Phil. And it's now this. And whether... And whether you liked it initially when I did it or whether you didn't, but you came back later and gave me a second shot, I'm thankful either which way. I'm thankful for the encouragement, but even a lot of the doubt, or not even doubt, but a lot of the criticism, that's what I'm looking for. A lot of the criticism that I get. And it's all well deserved. And I hope that as time goes on, we can build off that and we can bring you a much more concise and eventually respectable product. But it'll always be late and never breaking, because that's what the core of my existence is as it pertains to this YouTube thing. It'll always have to be that, because that's what makes me me. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful for you accepting me into your life, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be me, because if not, how are you going to respect me? You'll never respect someone who changes and conforms to what other people want. Personality wise is what I'm saying. That's why I always say, always late, never breaking. I'm very honest with you up front on what my intentions are, on what GTG Network and Productions' intentions are. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean I'm not thankful for the people who helped bring this all together, and the people who watch, and even the people who hate it. It means a lot. It means more than you'll ever really know. So I'm thankful either which way. And not just on YouTube, but on Twitter, on Kiwi Farms, and so on and so forth. So thank you guys very, very much. ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I've got cooking to do and whatnot, and because, you know, we can actually do that over here. You know what I'm saying? Dave don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Dave, I understand that, you know, Cat is having some issues. You know what I'm saying? The chili look. You send her over to me, and I'll go ahead and put her to work. You know what I'm saying? I'll shape her up for you real nice. So next Thanksgiving it won't be so bad. But then again, Phil, if she's not there next Thanksgiving, well, at least you got lady number 3 off in the distance there. If that even forms into a thing. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Ladies and gentlemen, have a happy Thanksgiving. From everybody here at GTG Network and Productions, from everybody here in this detractor circle, thank you so very much for everything that you do. Not for myself, but for everybody else, for every detractor throughout the year. And for the years past, and hopefully for some of us, the years moving forward. Take care of yourselves.